No, no, brother, wait!
What, Ivor? What do you want?
Don't touch that glossy magazine. Believe me, it's radioactive. You touch it, you dead. You poof, you whatever. So, yeah. Don't touch it, brother, no!
I'll saw you, because I am a brave person like, well, what do you want me to do, this? Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Oh, boy. No, biological brother, don't touch that!
What do you want, Ivor?
No, it happened to my unbiological brother. He touched it and he poofed! So don't touch it! No! Please don't!
What do you mean, Ivor? What, like this? Well, no.
No! Okay, bed to myself. Well, we all know the most obvious things that produce radiation. You've got nuclear power plants, microwaves, atomic bombs, and holidays to certain parts of Ukraine. So, however, it's the less obvious things we have to watch out for. So based on that and both my brothers dying, here's 10 things you didn't know was radioactive. Start with number 10. So Brazil nut is one of the most radioactive foods in the world. However, don't think that eating several handfuls of them will give you superpowers. It won't. I tried. Instead, as one unfortunate obsessive nut eater found, doing this will just make your poop and urine extremely radioactive. Oh, nuclear poo! So the reason for this radioactivity is simple. The roots of the tree that produce the Brazil nut grow so deep into the ground that they absorb massive levels of radium, a naturally occurring source of radiation. And hey, it gets into the Brazil nut and that's it. You just change your poop into radioactive. Now, the Grand Central Station, of course, New York City's Grand Central Station, so I say, is one of the largest rail stations in the world. It also, as many of the commuters that pass through it might be worried to know, that it's also one of the most radioactive. This is because many of the walls of the station, as well as its foundation, were built using granite, a rock capable of holding natural radiation. In fact, the radiation levels produced by the station are so high that they actually exceed the levels that nuclear power plants are legally allowed to emit. Yeah, you probably mutate when you get on the train. Getting to Boston. Oh, who the hell is that? I don't want to use Boston as an example. I don't know America. Now, number 8 is living in Denver. It's a scientific fact that the higher the altitude you go, the more exposure to forms of cosmic radiation you receive. So, you can blame the Earth's atmosphere for this. The atmospheric layer that surrounds the Earth gets thinner with the closer you get to it, and therefore provides less protection to the people underneath it. This is a problem for residents of Denver, as their city is approx 1 mile above sea level, which is pretty high. As a result, its population is blasted by twice as much radiation as those living at sea levels. Weirdly, however, this isn't having an ill effect on any of the local people. In fact, it's actually making them live longer. Yep, so people are developing super healing powers. Yep, radioactive city. Was it town? Is it town? City? Number 7, exit signs. So if you're attending school or college or work in an office, you've probably noticed the glowing exit signs dotted around the place. Or if it's my school, it's just a slab on the wall saying exit. But they aren't connected to the main power source of the building. So, you know, everyone inside the building would be trapped in darkness if the power went out. Which is pretty much alright, yeah. So, how do they generate this light? Long life batteries? Hamsters on treadmills? No, sadly instead the light is generated by the samples of radioactive isotope of hydrogen called tritium contained inside the sign. Unfortunately, however, if that same disaster that cut the power also causes the sign to smash, the same radioactive isotope can escape and contaminate the building and everyone in it. Oh my god. What's the point in putting a fire exit sign? What's supposed to be for safety and it could kill you? Health and safety has gone mad. Literally. Number 6 is cat litter. The stuff they poop in. If for some reason you ever feel the compulsion to perform a swan dive into your cat litters box, you might want to reconsider your decision. Aside from the fact that it's disgusting to even think that it would be a good idea, but kitty litter is one of the most common sources of radiation in your home. That's because one of its major components is bentonite clay, a type of, clay. That's great for soaking up poop and urine, but awful at not containing traces of naturally occurring uranium and thorium, which it does. Even worse, thanks to the way in which we just dump thousands of tons of cat litter in landfills every year, there's a danger that this radiation might eventually spread to our groundwater and kill us all. Mutate. It sounds much nicer. No views, I'm not growing a third eye. Number 5, bananas. So you're probably thinking, hey, I've already mentioned Brazil nuts. Well, bananas, like Brazil nuts, produce small quantities of radiation. But whereas in the case of Brazil nut that the result is the tree soaking up from the ground, well, bananas suffer from this because it's written into their genetic code. Before you start burying your bananas in a lead-lined coffin, though, you should probably be aware that you have to eat roughly 5 million of these things to get anything near radiation sickness. Unless you are hungry. I doubt anyone will be even buying that many. So, yeah. And by that point, it's all be moot anyway, because there's a chance you would have turned into a banana yourself, eating that much. Nevertheless, this radiation is still detachable to gene counters, so much so that taking a hand of bananas through a radiation sensor at any border checkpoint will be enough to set the alarms off. Don't you be taking bananas into an airport now. Or radiation stuff. Like, well, where the hell did I get airport for radiation stuff, really? I came up with bananas, radiation, airport. My brain's not here today. Granite kitchen worktops. So let's say we scared you into vowing never to eat bananas or Brazil nuts ever again. Well, your body is a temple to clean, non-radioactive living. However, if you've got a granite worktop, you probably want to rip them all out. If you got it in your kitchen, there's a good chance that nearly every piece of food that's been prepared on it has been subjected to radiation. If you remember the story about Grand Central Station, you'll know why, because granite is an excellent rock for retaining natural occurring radiation, meaning you prepare food on a radiation park. Next. Number 3, cigarettes. So it won't surprise you to learn that cigarettes are bad for you. Well, yeah, after all, that's all what those adverts on TV say. And everything on TV is true. Many cigarettes contain radioactive materials, such as polonium, which is 210, the same radioactive isotope used to assassinate Alexander Litvinenko, sorry, I can't say it, and lead. Any reasons to quit? Well, just tell them that you were eating radioactive stuff. These materials, which survive in the tobacco leaves throughout the cigarette production process, are released into the air as a vapor when the cigarette is lit and inhaled into the smoker. Although these materials are released at low concentrations, however, deposits of these chemicals can accumulate significantly in the organs of medium to heavy smokers and are thought to be linked to the development of certain cancers. So who wants to smoke in radiation now? You better quit. Number 2, old pottery and glassware. It might have been sweet of your grandma to leave you all the little old vases and pieces of glassware in her will, but don't be fooled. You need to go and get rid of them immediately. But don't tell her when you got rid of it, because yeah, your grandma would be turning in your grave right now. So many items of pottery produced before 1960, mainly those with orange and reddy sort of colour, contain high levels of uranium on account of it being mixed into a glaze that gives the pieces that distinctive colour. Likewise, if you've got any items of antique glass with a greenish colour, they also contain uranium as well. Needless to say, we don't recommend drinking from those items anymore, especially given that much old stuff has also leaked. Okay, so yeah, you've got nuclear stuff, radiation. Next. And here's what killed my brothers. If a magazine publisher wants to blow some money, it might start printing onto glossy paper. So mainly because it looks nicer, but also because they think consumers are part magpie. You know, they like shiny stuff and they buy. However, getting paper to look that sleek and glossy requires it to be covered in kaolin, a type of white clay, like the clay that forms kitty litter. The clay is capable of holding large amounts of radioactive elements, such as uranium and thorium. This clay is also used commonly as a food addictive as an ingredient in many over-the-counter drugs. So next time you're in your television magazine, try not to eat anything on it, because yeah, it contains radiation. And that is it for the things you didn't know what had radioactive. In fact, you watching this now, I've just fed in tons of radioactive knowledge into your brain. You don't get that anywhere else on the YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe, like, and tune in every week for Fact Friday. Or if you're in an experimental mood, get all these ingredients and see if you die of radioactive poisoning. Probably not do that because I'll be accounted for it. Bye, folks.